Previously on Cartoon Fight Night.
Oh!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 37th episode of Cartoon Fight Night. I'm your host, Beers Bonkers, and if you're new to this series, be sure to check out the first episode. But if you know how the game is played, then let's get ready for the fight. Tonight's episode was animated by Omega7321, so if you enjoy what you see, make sure to check out his channel and subscribe. He has many more enjoyable animations for you to watch. His link will be in the description below. Speaking of tonight's battle, we have the iconic Overwatch vs Team Fortress 2 rivalry. That's right, we have Tracer versus the Scout. Tracer has been on CFC before in her fight against Sans, but we will be doing an analysis on her anyway. And Scout is a newcomer to CFC and Cartoon Fight Night, so we will of course be doing an analysis on him. Something else worth noting is that Scout will have every single one of his weapons he can have in TF2 for this battle. So with all that being said, let's introduce Cartoon Fight Night's 37th round of fighters. Lena Oxton is one of the original members of Overwatch, originally starting out as a pilot who would go on to test Overwatch's new teleporting fighter jet. However, not everything went to plan. The test flight ended up failing and Lena was presumed dead. She was eventually found again. However, something was different about her. She was flickering in and out of time, occasionally disappearing for days or even months. This state was known as her having chronal disassociation. But eventually, Overwatch's lead monkey scientist, Winston, came up with a solution: the chronal accelerator. As long as Tracer was near this device, she would be anchored in the present. Not only did it stop her from glitching through time, but it also gave her some very useful abilities, such as the blink ability. The blink ability is what appears to be a short-range teleport, but it's actually time being sped up for only Tracer while she is propelled forward. This makes her a very tricky opponent to catch. And even if you do manage to damage or catch her, she does have the ability to recall. This sends only Tracer back in time, while leaving everyone else around her unaffected. This ability not only sends her back to the position she was in 3 to 15 seconds before using it, but it also restores her to the condition she was in before. So this can be an easy way to fix damage and has even got her poison gas out of her system before. The Chronal Accelerator also came with a nice set of twin pulse pistols. These guns are fast firing weapons that quickly chip away at enemy health. They can also be reloaded quite quickly. Though they are bad at hitting enemies far away, Tracer should have no trouble getting in close anyway. Then there's her ultimate ability, the Pulse Bomb, which is basically a glorified sticky grenade. She can attach it to her targets, then watches they explode mere seconds later. This is capable of doing considerable damage to even the toughest of Overwatch heroes. On to stats. Tracer is incredibly quick. She was capable of easily darting around and avoiding attack from the mighty Doomfist. For reference, Doomfist was capable of dodging a shot from Winston's Tesla cannon at a very short range. This makes Doomfist's combat speed easily many times the speed of sound. Tracer was also able to dart around the highly trained Ninja Genji, even while she was still in her own combat training. In terms of power and durability, while she may have stood no chance against Doomfist in the past, she has clearly gotten stronger as she was able to fight on par with the likes of Widowmaker and Reaper. This duo was able to hold their own against Winston in his enraged state. And in their fight, Tracer was doing just as well against the two as Winston. An enraged Winston was not only able to hold his own against Doomfist, but defeat him single-handedly. The same Doomfist who is reported to be able to destroy entire skyscrapers. And Widowmaker was also able to tank an attack from the Doomfist gauntlet. It was wielded by a kid, which would have made it weaker than an attack from the real Doomfist. But the explosion still reached all the way across a large room in the museum, and Tracer is still able to damage Widowmaker. However, Tracer is not perfect. Though she can fight within the same league as these large building busters, it is made clear that there is still a physical gap between them and that she still isn't quite as strong. She's better at hit and run tactics, doing short bursts of damage rather than being a majorly imposing physical threat. She's also very cocky, which did cause her to fail in her mission to protect Mondata from being assassinated. Her chronal accelerator can also be damaged with enough force, and if it's destroyed, Tracer can begin glitching again through time and space, and be unable to continue fighting. Even if it isn't destroyed, it can still run out of charge if Tracer overuses it, leaving her unable to blink out of danger and making her more vulnerable, though it does recharge fairly quickly. Overall, Tracer is a very quick original member of Overwatch. She's great at hit and run tactics, though she is cocky and can still be defeated if her chronal accelerator is destroyed, even if she herself is still alive. The Scout was created by God as a gift to humanity with the sole purpose of sleeping with all of the Earth's women. I'm not kidding, that's actual canon information brought up in the comics, and now you can forget you ever heard that as we move on from the normal parts of Scout's origin. If you can even call TF2 normal. Anyway, being the youngest of 8 brothers must have been tough growing up for the Scout. His brothers would often get into fights, and while Scout would want to get involved in these fights, he'd always be too slow and they'd be over before he could throw a single punch. But he trained himself to run faster, and eventually, he was able to run faster than any of his brothers and was able to join in the fray. He could also jump in midair because this is TF2. Logic went straight out the window quite some time ago in this game. Eventually, Scout joined the Red Team, giving him access to a large arsenal of weapons, and I'm talking large. Now, I would tell you about all of his weapons, but that would probably bore you to death, so we're just gonna go over some basic ones. For primary weapons, he has the stock scattergun, a shotgun-like weapon that does very high damage with few shots. He also has the Force of Nature, which does more damage than the scattergun, but has a smaller clip size. And the Soda Popper, which can activate a hype mode, giving Scout increased damage and the ability to jump 5 more times in the air. For secondary weapons, Scout can use the stock pistol, the Kappa, which incinerates foes, the Bonk Atomic Punch, which allows Scout to avoid any attack in the game, even at point-blank range that are shown by mists above his head. And he also has the Mad Milk and Mutated Milk that can both extinguish any enemies on fire and coat enemies in the stuff so that Scout can heal when he attacks them. And also the Flying Guillotine is a throwable knife that can make enemies bleed and does extra damage to stunned opponents. Now for his melee arsenal, Scout has a variety of weapons that don't really do much. These including Metal Bat, a Frying Pan, and a Holy Mackerel, which is literally just a wet fish. But if we're talking ones that do actual effects, well, take the Sandman for example. It can launch baseballs to stun his enemies. Now that is a large arsenal. I would tell you more, but once again, I don't want to bore you to death. Now, as for stats, Scout is pretty impressive. In terms of strength, he managed to one-shot a bear, destroy robots on a regular basis, and can launch fully grown men like the Heavy to be sent flying hundreds of feet in the air with a single bat swing. He's also pretty tough too. Despite being a scrawny for his size, he has survived a direct hit from 3 rockets while wounded, constantly drinks radioactive bonk, had a dove implanted inside of him, and even survived being caught in the middle of a tug-of-war between Saxton Hale and the Heavy as the freaking rope. But where Scout really shines is of course his speed. He can avoid rockets, automatic sentry gun fire, the tentacles of a giant bread monster, and after drinking bonk, can dodge point-blank streams of minigun fire at speeds faster than the trained eye can see. Seeing as the well-trained eye can see up to speeds around Mach 11, it's safe to say Scout surpassed those speeds of the short bursts after drinking bonk. Now, of course, Scout is not perfect. He's very cocky, lacks former training, and also has little to no discipline. But overall, Scout is a very fast mercenary with a wide arsenal of weapons, though he is cocky and his weapons do have limited ammo. And now, let's get ready for the fight. This battle will take place on Earth, each fighter will have a day to prepare, and this music is way too loud. Let the battle begin!
How's that feel, wimp? on, tough guy. You and me. Sweet. Pop quiz. How long does it take to beat a moron to death? Bam! Sorry, time's up.
We can't lose it now. Nothing's gonna stop me.
Eat my dust.
Oh no!
Game set. Is that all you got, moron? I am the scout here.
And our winner is the Scout. Now, before we discuss why, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Omega7321 for animating this. Make sure to check out his channel if you enjoyed, and also thanks to the MLG Avocado for writing the script. And now for the post-analysis. Now, this was bound to get controversial no matter who we had win. But I need to address the elephant in the room and make this very, very clear. The episode was in no way to debunk Death Battle's episode of Scout vs. Tracer, or an attack on ScrewAttack in any way. They have their own set of rules and circumstances that are totally different from the ones we use. And the circumstances did play a huge role in tonight's episode. So what I said in the post-analysis may not fit within the rules as such, which does not apply to them. And this series is not supposed to be to end all omniscient source of knowledge that we don't claim our own opinions as facts. Okay, we clear? Good. Now for why Scout wins. Let's start off with who had the bigger arsenal. Scout was allowed every single weapon he had for this battle. This includes over 30 different weapons, while Tracer only had her pulse pistols and her pulse bomb. While Tracer's guns do have infinite ammo and Scout's don't, Tracer is very unlikely to last long enough for Scout to run out of ammo, and even then, Scout has more melee weapons than any other kind of weapon. They don't have to worry about running out of ammo, so Scout holds the arsenal edge. Yes, Tracer is extremely difficult to catch and damage and can be healed if she's hurt, but Scout is the exact same thing. He's very difficult to land attacks on via the bulk, letting him move so fast that he can't be seen, and if he's damaged while he isn't under the effects, he can still heal via hitting Tracer with the Mad Milk. Now, don't get us wrong, both fighters are extremely cocky, but only Tracer has had it cost her in a fight. She failed her mission against Widowmaker because she wasn't taking the fight seriously. Meanwhile, Scout has never faced such problems. Also, since this battle had prep, Scout was likely to be able to go after the Chronal Accelerator to stop Tracer more easily, as he's tanked rockets while wounded and being pulled on two different sides by people like Saxton Hale and Heavy, who have superhuman levels of strength. He's definitely tough enough to last until either he manages to catch her off guard, he's stunned her with the Sandman leaving her open, or the Chronal Accelerator runs out of charge. If one good kick from Widowmaker could do it, I see no reason why a swing from a baseball bat strong enough to send grown men flying, or a powerful blast from a scattergun wouldn't be able to. Making the winner of this battle, the Scout. Now, if you do want to see a no prep time rematch with Tracer against a stock Scout with just a base scattergun, pistol, and bat, just like the video, and for over 1,000 likes, there will be a rematch. Don't forget to comment down your own ideas as they may become future episodes, and stay tuned as I reveal the next fighters. On the next episode of Cartoon Fight Night.
Nice.
Don't let your kids what's it? No,
That's no good.
No good. No good.
Meanwhile...